Take a close look at the man striking the stone. We are told from birth that physical sacrifice is the primary path to financial success. Yet, if we look at the reality of the global economy, the individuals putting in the most grueling physical hours rarely accumulate the most capital. If sheer physical exhaustion dictated the hierarchy of wealth, the hardest workers in our fields and factories would be the wealthiest people on the planet. Sustained wealth accumulation relies on a specific cognitive blueprint that dictates how a person processes information before they ever pick up a tool. Most people live in a cycle beginning on the first with the arrival of a paycheck. For 48 hours, there is a sense of relief, but that feeling quickly evaporates. By the 10th, the majority of that income has already been diverted to external obligations. This chart visualizes lifestyle creep. As that green column representing your income steps upward, your personal expenses, the red line, expand at the exact same rate to consume every bit of your financial margin. This expansion is driven by a psychological urge to convert higher earnings into status. People buy luxury vehicles they don't need and upgraded electronics they can't afford, primarily to project success toward people whose opinions they don't actually value. This behavior eventually forces a reliance on credit. You begin spending future earnings to maintain a current image, becoming a permanent hostage to debt. At this point, you can no longer afford to leave a job you dislike because your entire lifestyle is collateral. This trap is a predictable outcome of an economic framework prioritizing consumer lending and high-frequency marketing. Institutional systems rely on this constant cycle of debt to ensure the workforce remains active, predictable, and too preoccupied with immediate survival to build competing systems. Two people can stand in the same city and see two completely different worlds. One sees a landscape of inflation and job scarcity. The other sees a network of unsolved problems waiting for a business to fix them. This difference in perception is rooted in the reticular activating system, or RAS. This cluster of nerves acts as a biological bouncer, filtering out millions of points of sensory noise every second to keep your conscious mind from being overwhelmed. Your RAS calibrates based on what you focus on. If you decide to buy a specific model of car, you will suddenly see that exact vehicle on every highway and in every parking lot. The cars were always present. Your brain simply stopped filtering them out as irrelevant data. When your cognitive programming is focused on poverty and survival, your brain treats wealth-generating opportunities as noise. It filters out the possibilities and only lets in the information that reinforces your current fears about the economy. You aren't lacking opportunities. You lack the neurological permission to see them. Your brain actively blinds you to the wealth moving in front of you. The wealthiest individuals manually reprogram their internal filters to identify 3 specific patterns that the average person misses. Observe this scene. While the crowd is focused on the frustration of the storm, the trained mind identifies the specific discomfort as a market opening. Where people are complaining, there is a gap that can be filled with a product or service. The second pattern involves the utility of money. A wealth-oriented mind treats capital as a high-performance tool, putting it to work the same way a mechanic uses a wrench or a carpenter uses a saw. Most people are conditioned to hoard their savings, mistakenly believing that stagnant cash provides security. In reality, capital that doesn't circulate loses its potential to grow. The third pattern focuses strictly on systems. Instead of entering a situation and asking, "How do I do this?" a strategic thinker asks, "How can this be done?" Building a system means detaching your personal time from the generation of income. You design the mechanism, test it, and then step away, allowing the gears of the business to continue spinning and producing value without your physical presence. True financial independence is the result of owning these self-sustaining systems rather than trading individual hours for a fixed paycheck. When your internal focus, your developed skills, and a genuine market need finally overlap, you reach a state of alignment. In this central zone, wealth creation becomes an automated byproduct of your presence in the market. This alignment is the opposite of desperate hustle. Chasing money like a beggar creates a psychological barrier that prevents you from seeing high-level solutions. Outside observers often label this luck or blind money because the revenue seems to arrive with minimal effort. The reality is that the person has simply positioned themselves at the intersection of high-value problems. They have tuned their frequency to be a permanent solver of those problems. The market prices your value based on the rarity and scale of the problems you solve, not the number of calories you burn while solving them. All of this cognitive reprogramming fails if you do not commit to the principle of extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is the decision to take 100% responsibility for your current financial standing, refusing to blame the government, the economy, or your background for your lack of capital. You are standing at this fork. One path leads back to the distractions of consumption and status symbols. The other leads to a period of focused execution where you prioritize building systems over seeking immediate dopamine. The rewards of a wealth mindset are only available to those who move from gathering information to sustained action. Choose to stop being a consumer of other people's dreams and start being the architect of your own. Your life is a direct reflection of your internal coding. If you want a different reality, you have to rewrite the program.